I hope you guys are ready to rock and roll today, because we are going to look at every different aspect of how your body speaks to you. How does your body speak to you? Through symptoms. But where can you find the clues? Let's talk about saliva, blood, urine, and stools. Oh yeah, this is, oh my. Urine, blood, saliva, and stools. Oh my. So today we're going to talk with Lisa Geyer. She is our teacher of Live Longer Medical, that you can find them in the Atlantic, Florida. It's a beautiful place where you start working on the inside so you can match your insides, match your outsides. So fasten your seatbelt. It's time to dance, because we're going to learn and grow together. Here we go.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here. Right here, and when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for
you. This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friends. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who have been tuning in to the classroom since 2011, or maybe tuned in yesterday for the first time, welcome back. But if this is the first time that someone said, hey, you got to listen to this show or class, or, be a part of it, or you were just stumbled upon it today, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friends on Facebook.com/Lillian's Radio Show, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, as you know, we've had teachers from all around the world share the importance of prevention. Prevention is key. But there are times where we are doing things to our body that we may know hurt us, or perhaps maybe we don't even know that what we're doing is not good for our body. One size, if you get anything from the classroom, is that one size does not, capital N, capital O, capital T, not fit all. One size does not fit all. And for anyone to think that I can take a pill and it will solve everybody's problem, then their thinking is flawed. So I am here with Lisa Geyer. She is the CEO. She is a nutrition coach. She is someone that I have trusted as well to talk to her about how I've been feeling, especially after my explantation, and she's been so wonderful to guide me. I even had an IV infusion before and after my explantation. Very loving, very caring, but very knowledgeable. So here's the deal. We've talked about how symptoms are a way of our body speaking to us. If you have a symptom, that means your body's going, hey, listen up. Then that symptom turns into something greater. And then we go into the doctor's office, and the doctor takes that symptom and say, we're going to shut that symptom up. Don't listen to it. We're going to give you medication, and you're going to be able to do exactly what you're doing. And this medication will go, shh, that's not happening. Be very, very quiet. But then something happens where you just collapse on the floor, and now a 2x4 has hit you over the head. So if you are in that stages that you're in that cycle of the medicalized system, perhaps it's time to listen to your body. And not only that, your body will give you some major clues. And what I've learned about Lisa is that she was very successful with her first company that she helped create. And she's bringing all that wisdom and knowledge to Live Longer Medical. And she listens to your body. What? Saliva, blood, urine, and stools. And we are going to talk about all of that. And since it's our sole purpose to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Lisa Geyer of Live Longer Medical is here to do just that. Welcome back, Lisa, to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show classroom.
Thanks, Lily. So glad to be here. It's always fun.
Wonderful. Okay, so share a little bit about your background so that people know, where did you get your wisdom, your knowledge, and your facts, your scientific evidence?
So in 1994, I founded and created a medical clinic called the Geyer Institute with my, at the time, husband. And we launched from a hospital setting. I was in a dietetics program. And we launched from being in the hospital and being limited in the level of care we could provide. It was very frustrating. And, you know, just to give a simple B12 shot to a Medicare patient was, you know, a nightmare. And the approval process was insane. And, you know, that's life-changing for someone who needed that. So, you know, it was frustrating. We left the hospital. We started a medical clinic. At that time, we began to attend medical conferences, and I received over 30 different certifications in different types of therapies over the years, between injection therapies, IV therapies, photoluminescence, hyperbaric treatments, ozone treatments, neural therapy, PRP. I could go on forever. There's at least 30. So, you know, a multitude of things over the years that we expanded our medical practice. Our intention was to treat at the root of an illness as opposed to symptom-based medicine, which is what you've been referencing. And in most cases, like you said, one size fits all. It's funny, I put that in my first brochure in 1994. You know, one size does not fit all, and you cannot put people in a box. And in a traditional model, you know, the insurance process allows about 7 minutes. And while we are taking insurance in our medical practice, we are trying to find ways to provide a more comprehensive look. Yeah. And we're doing that by dividing our patients into 2 appointments. They meet with me once, our new patients anyway, and then they meet with, you know, our other practitioners. So it's one way we're trying to give all the time that is needed to really give that person what they genuinely need. So at any rate, that's a little bit about my background. So we ran that practice. I sold it a little over a year ago. And then I just in April purchased Live Longer Medical. So, you know, I've taken a huge clinic that we were known all over the world. Our patients came from all walks of life, from very famous people to the farmer next door and the lady down the street. So I've seen all different types of backgrounds and a lot of autoimmune disease, a lot of very, very difficult illnesses that you know, traditional medicine just couldn't quite fix. So
yes, and as a health coach, you're focused on bringing that health back as well.
Right, exactly.
Very good. Okay, so when we were talking one time, and you were mentioning that, you know, with the way my body is changing, that perhaps maybe I should look at evaluations of my own body, giving me my own roadmap. So let's talk about these roadmaps that you use and that you've been using for a long time, and now you're bringing to Live Longer Medical in the Atlantic, Florida. So what do you want to start with? What's the quick and easy, and maybe the most cost effective?
Wow. That's a big question. It really depends on a patient's insurance, the type of insurance that they have. There are a couple companies I really like. I think stories help. So I'm going to tell a quick story
Okay.
that has to do with an actual stool test, and also kind of compares a traditional model. Years and years ago, we had a young girl. She was 5 years old. She was a little Amish girl. And in the Amish community where we were, if you were going to travel to see a physician, it took the permission of several people within the Amish community in order to do that, and getting a car and a driver, and many people would come for this appointment. So this particular day, we had a cute little 5-year-old little girl, and she couldn't hold her head up, and she was dragging her back left foot. And my daughter of 3 at the time was equal in height, amazingly, and was running through the hall, and it was kind of an interesting day, but not normally would she be doing that. But it was an interesting comparison for me at that moment, because this little girl had been to very well-known physicians and hospitals, and they had been told, the family had been told just to let it go. This was a genetic issue, and she was not going to live. So I wasn't real comfortable with accepting that. So we began to look at her labs, and she did traditional labs that would typically be covered by insurance. And some of the things were not even addressed, like a low iron issue and just some other things. So because this young girl wasn't absorbing her nutrients, we decided to take vitamins, put them in a cream, and allow the family to put those on her skin. So, when you get vitamins on your skin, or anything really on your skin, that's why you want to be careful what you're putting on your skin, but it absorbs, within 20, 30 minutes or so. So those things are in your bloodstream. You want to be very careful, whatever you're putting on your body, in your body, on your body. Those are all important.
Yeah.
So anyway, this little girl, we put all the vitamins in a cream, and she began to improve, and we were just amazed. And we noticed things on the labs that weren't addressed, like she had a low iron level. So we were using things like that to give the family, but I just felt like we just hadn't nailed it. We just didn't quite have it. So I offered the family to come and do a home visit. There's always things you can learn. And if you're really going to dig for that needle in the haystack, if you're really going to look for that root cause, sometimes it takes, some dramatic efforts. Mm-hmm. And so we did a home visit. And as you'd expect, there were not, there was not lighting, there was cement floors, and, there was a well and things like that. So we observed all of those things and suggested not drinking well water. I felt that it could be an issue because of the farms that are around and the pesticides that could be seeping into the well water. So that was one suggestion we made. But at one point, the children asked if we wanted to go out and see their animals. We went out into the barn, and we noticed that the children were running around, and there's feces, and they were barefoot. So red flags went up, and we ended up doing a stool test, and found that there was a parasite. We treated this parasite, and that child lived. So had we not gone that extra mile, not that we're going to do home visits on all of our patients, but there was just, the different level of care that you're taking with people, it does make a difference. And granted, when we met with a patient in that setting, we did not take insurance, and we had an hour. And in an hour, you can get a lot more information. In fact, actually, the patients would meet with me for an hour, and then they would meet with the physician. So we had a 2-hour window of getting data. So I personally believe it takes more time. And in our medical practice currently, we do take insurance visits, but we offer a more integrative approach with a longer visit, but it's cash pay. So at any rate, having said all of that, that was a stool test that changed that patient's life. Because what goes in is coming out. And so the process between point A and point B is, you need to know what's going on. So a stool test is really important. And I know it's not pleasant, but it's good to do it every now and then. Just if you're even healthy, just how am I processing my food? What am I getting enough of? You're going to look at your friendly bacteria and what your levels look like. And those are important details. And I'm not a biochemist, but when you do look at a stool test, there are lots of different levels that you're looking at that are important to keep healthy bacteria. You've got healthy bacteria and you've got unhealthy bacteria. And you need to know if you've been exposed to any of that. Over the years, I've seen people who travel a lot, and they can have parasites just from eating sushi, from raw fish. And for myself personally, I don't eat raw fish because I saw enough of those stool samples. As a result, I don't at all want to be, even take the risk. But, those are just things to consider when you travel out of the country. Be careful of the water, be careful what you're consuming. There's those exposures that could be an issue. So, and even with babies that are born via C-section, those babies don't get that healthy bacteria. So sometimes those children, and even I have a grandchild that was born C-section, and it's something I reminded my daughter the other day, you've got to make sure she's getting significant healthy bacteria, because those children, studies have shown, don't get that because they don't have a normal vaginal delivery.
They're doing something now, which this is very hopeful, which I thought from the very beginning, if they knew this, then they should have taken the fluids from the birth canal and rub it on the baby. And now they're doing that. Not that I'm trying to say I created it, but I thought it. And if I thought it, and then the medical profession should have thought it many, many years ago. But was it perhaps maybe that they didn't realize that the fluids from the birth canal was really that effective for the child with building immunities and everything?
Yeah. It's an amazing, the way we are created and the process for creation, those are all pieces of what make us healthy. And given the right environment, I should say, but, it is, all of those things mean something. So, when you do get presented with someone who's got a health condition that they've been to 20 doctors, no one can figure it out, I love those patients. I love all the cool testing that we can do. And granted, there may be cost to it, but what's your life worth?
Yeah.
At some point you want to invest in that. And once yearly, I do several of these tests. And one that we're going to talk about is a Nutra-Eval test by Genova. That's this company I've worked with since 1994. Many of the years we were one of their top prescribers for their lab testing. And it's because they give consistent resulting. It's an easy to read report. Even a patient can take it and say, oh my gosh, there's red. I need to pay attention. There's something there that means something for me. And even mine that I did just a few months back, it's got areas that I need to address. And it does change. I do this test at least once a year. If I've got something going on that I'm suspect, I'll do it again. It does have a prepay cost. And I, off the top of my head, can't remember the amount. It's $200 to $300. But it's an investment, because when you are looking at these results and you can change that biochemistry for yourself personally, it can change your predisposition for a disease. And that's valuable. That's important. And I'm very type A. I move fast. I work fast. I tend to do a lot of things quickly. But you have to slow yourself down and take the time to value that information. So that's my speech.
And I want to go back to the Nutra-Eval because it's so important. I want to talk about this guy a little bit more, because when you are looking at your stool and when you're looking at, so are there particular tests that you do? Is there anything like if people can't come to Live Longer Medical because maybe they live in Malaysia or they live, is there a particular name? Because now you're looking at stool and you're looking at good bacteria, bad bacteria, parasites. Is there only one type of stool test, or is there one particular that gives you a bigger range of knowledge?
Certainly all over the world, there's probably different laboratories that do different tests. I'm most familiar with Genova's stool test because it's consistent and I know that they're going to give a good result. For what we're using right now, we do use Genova's stool test. Having said that, I've had patients all over the world, and we just box up the tests and mail them to them. And all they do is ship them off. It's something you can do from home.
Okay.
It's not difficult. It gives very good instructions. They have a phone number you can call if you have questions. They keep it simple. And I think patients like having the privacy of doing that in your home. Yeah, you can go to a lab and do some of those things. But it's just simplified just doing some of those things from home.
Okay, good.
Even urine. Yeah.
Good. Okay, so you from there you went to nutrition, because what goes in comes out. And
right.
so and I guess what I want to do is at the end kind of wrap up. How do you take this information and turn it into a roadmap for health? What do you do with the information once you have it? So let's you went into naturally the NutriVal, and full disclosure, Lisa sent me her evaluation from last year. So what did you learn? What do you learn from this testing, and when do you choose to do? So this would be blood, right?
This particular test is blood and urine. You can choose to do the saliva portion if you want the genetics profile. I typically, it's a good place to start for a genetic profile, but there are a couple different companies I like that do a more comprehensive look at gene SNPs, which would be an entire show to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
But we recently just had a patient in the office, and we had this particular patient do a genetics saliva test, and then we had them do this NutriVal, and it was amazing to tie this together, because your NutriVal is telling what your body is already doing or not doing, or you have too much of. I love the NutriVal because it's looking at all of your nutrients. It's telling what you're missing. I mean, even on mine, I was missing niacin. I need to get a little more niacin.
Interesting.
So,
niacin is really good for stress relief and mental health.
Women.
Yeah.
It's amazing because as women cycle and you're losing all the B vitamins, you need to put them back. And over the years, as I've watched women giving birth, post-birth, they will have all kinds of different issues. But I've noticed that many women, after they give birth, will have anxiety disorders. Their adrenals are weak, and your adrenals need B vitamins. That's what keeps them strong. So, B vitamins are critically important for women, men too, but I just notice a lot of it in women because we do cycle, because we lose blood every month, because we're, giving birth and all of those processes. It's one thing we need to pay attention to.
Very good. Very good. So when you're looking at this right here, it has different colors. And and so you're looking at what? You're looking at antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, D. Is that it?
You look at, well, there's even a panel that looks at heavy metals.
Uh-huh.
And having said that, the gold standard for doing a heavy metal test is a provocation test. And that's where you get an IV infusion, and it will have EDTA, which is, FDA approved for clearing metal toxicity, and sometimes DMPS, depending on what might be necessary for that patient. DMPS binds mercury, and mercury is found in silver amalgams. It could also come from eating a lot of tuna or fish that is, loaded with mercury. So again, that's a detailed evaluation with a patient. But the cool thing with the NutriVal is it's a signal. If it shows that, because that comes from blood, if it shows that you've got a level that's questionable, then you might want to go back to your practitioner and say, hey, I want to do, the gold standard. I want the provocation test. I want the IV, I want the IV infusion, so that you collect the urine for 24 hours. And it basically is a treatment too, because it's going to bind the heavy metals. It will carry it out in the urine. And then they look at that level and they'll tell you what you need to do. And then from that, you give a treatment protocol of more EDTA or DMPS or both, depending on what's going on.
Now you do those both at Live Longer Medical? Do you do these?
We do those in the
Okay.
And again, I use Genova. There's another company called Doctor's Data that we like as well for those provocation tests. We use both. And it sometimes, it depends on who's got the better, pricing as well. It helps patients.
Do you need a script for these testing?
You do. And so it's good to have your practitioner recommend that for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does it come with an evaluation? So when you pay that money for the testing, does it automatically come with an evaluation, or do you have to pay extra for that?
You'll come in and pay for your first visit, and then we determine what labs are needed. And then, yes, you will have a follow-up to review those labs. So you'll get the prescription at your appointment, and then you'll have the labs done,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll come back and review those with your practitioner.
So when you get the results of this, what did you have to do differently? What did
For
you
me
learn
personally,
about yourself? Yes.
For me personally, gosh, I've got my results in front of me. There were several things I did. I changed up some of my supplementation. I modified a few things. I increased my friendly bacteria because I needed a little bit more. Let me go back through here. My cardiovascular profile looked really good. Another thing that's really cool about this test is it will look at MTHFR, which is determines how your body is processing folic acid. And mine showed, that I do have an issue with that. So I do take, folic acid with methyl B12 because I need a little bit of that. My elemental markers also showed I still have high mercury. So I'm addressing that as well. And years ago I addressed that, but apparently I didn't get all of it. So we're going to go back and do a provocation test and relook at that issue. So, again, with different people, you have different things. I'm trying to go through magnesium. I am always deficient in magnesium. I take it every day. My body just doesn't absorb it. And there's just an issue with that for me. So I take it. And also I can tell when I forgot it for a few days because I'll get muscle cramping or a twitch. So it's just a sign, it's just a red flag. And that's just what my body, says to me, pay attention, you're not getting your magnesium. So, and people are unique. Everybody's got a different need for that.
Yeah.
Niacin, magnesium, I'm trying to think of all the other things I had to do. But yeah, you change up what you're taking, possibly how much you're taking. And it causes you to just recognize, I'm not either getting what I need in my diet, excuse me, or my supplements, and you've got to pay attention to it.
Yeah. And so you change it up, you look at the roadmap, and how quickly after you start making changes, did you start feeling relief or your body started thanking you?
For me, it's immediate because magnesium is a huge issue. So, and for different people, it could be different things. I needed to add a little probiotic. For me personally, probiotics are critically important. I've always had a bent towards having a little bit of candida. So probiotics help keep that in check and keep that in balance. So, this was another issue for me to watch. And that can change your, whether you get constipated or not. And for women, I hear this a lot. So it's something we always look at as well. And you'll see that in a stool test.
You can find candida in a stool test?
No, well, you can see that your friendly bacteria is off, and that can affect your candida. So, that's just something we watch in a stool test. So, if we had a patient that had a real issue with their probiotics, and then we did a stool test, it's just something we would look at, pay attention to.
Now, there are trillions of bacteria in our gut.
Yeah.
And so when we are looking at these probiotics and they have billions or they have thousands or, how do you know which one is giving you the right strain of bacteria?
With the stool test, you're going to get a clear definition what you need. That's very important. For a patient who's just trying to make sure they have good coverage, I always tell them, make sure you get a friendly bacteria that has multiple strains, as many strains as you can get. I private labeled my own that was an 18 strain. I've yet to find one that robust on the market really yet, and I'm in the process of having that made again and private labeled. So my recommendation, there's one that I love by Orthomolecular. It's 100 billion probiotic. I just love it. It works. I've seen it change for people, and I strongly recommend that one.
And what's it called?
Great one. It's made by Orthomolecular, and I think it's called Orthobiotic from memory. Yeah.
Okay. And do you get that at your place or do you get that?
We carry it. We carry it. We do.
And it has 100 billion.
Yeah. It's great.
I feel like a movie from with Mike Myers. Okay. So then is there anything else that we need to know? So this Nutravel is blood and saliva. So let's just look at the saliva testing by itself. If you just did saliva testing, what are some of the things that you would be looking at?
Well, it depends. You can do saliva testing for a lot of things. When appropriate, you can do a saliva test for hormones for women, and it can be very useful. And it's funny, I've gone to conferences literally since 1994, and I hear doctors just chatting about who thinks this and who thinks that, and everybody's got their opinion. Sometimes I don't think in a complicated patient, it doesn't hurt to do blood and saliva for hormone testing. Another thing that we do with saliva is the genetics test. And I know I was mentioning earlier a patient we just saw yesterday. It was amazing to take this NutrEval test and tie it in with their DNA, because your DNA, it is what it is. You're not going to change what it says. And this particular patient had propensities genetically for certain things, and we could see the expression in their NutrEval. So the cool thing about seeing the expression is then you look nutritionally, how do I modify that? What do I make sure I need to do to turn on or off those positive or negative expressions genetically? This particular patient had the happy gene, and you're going to ask me which one it is, and I couldn't tell you what it is right now. But it's funny because they considered it, the good guy gene. And, we were telling him, like, you've got the good guy gene. You're like the guy. It's an empathy gene. And not everyone has it, but it makes you a good person, to be around. It's amazing how he had this gene. But anyway, so, I just think it's cool how you can take the saliva and look at the genetics and then how it's expressed and do a lab test, because you can see what's already going on for that person. I mean, it's amazing. It's just the new wave of medicine, because it's a very solid marker for what you have a propensity to have in your life. I think everybody should do a genetics test once. And then as you do these yearly lab tests, you can get a better feel for what you need to do.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. But here's the thing, and we've got to really pay attention to the reason why we're doing a DNA test. So when I did my DNA test, it was after all those people that were ripping body parts out because they had the BRCA gene, or they were, doing things because they have this predisposition to. Again, you can turn on the gene and you can turn off the gene. So why not use DNA testing as this is where I can go. This is like when I had my palms read one time by a palmist, and she said one hand tells you what your predisposition, what is in the white canvas, and then another hand is what you've made from your life. So, I remember the first thing she said to me when she saw my palms was, have you changed your diet? Have you changed your nutrition in any way because you've elongated your life? And I'm like, oh my God, I know that, some people would say, but, that's crazy. And then nobody can tell you that. But God is God. And he created us with this roadmap that we have given the power to other people. And I'm not going to focus on doctors. We're focusing on other people that are flawed just like we are, that are learning just as we are. And so you can use this DNA if you have the BRCA gene and say, okay, I know that I can turn that gene off, because 50%, and this is the statistic that really got me so upset, 50% of women or men, I don't know if men can have the BRCA gene, have a predisposition for cancer, that breast cancer gene. And we had all these people take off their breast, and they were a role model, and other women were taking off their breasts because they didn't want to have breast cancer. But here's the deal. What happened to the other 50% that didn't do that? Yeah. Why is it that we focus only on the 50% of women who get cancer and not the 50% who don't? what did they do differently?
Yeah.
So I want to just go in and acknowledge the fact that what we're talking about in the classroom is not the stuff that you're going to hear in mainstream media. It's not the stuff that's going to feed the cancer industry, or it's going to feed the medical industry. It's not that. It's what can help you spirit, mind, and body. We hold the key to that roadmap. We have the map. We have the map. It's time for us to take it out and work along with a professional to help us with our destination and how we're going to get there. But all in all, we hold the key. We have the roadmap. And so do all the wonderful teachers that have taken a stand in the classroom, the Lillian McDermott radio show / classroom, people like Live Longer Medical, companies like Live Longer Medical, people like Lisa Geyer, who says, I'm standing with this. And, we're not just going to focus on one, because I think everything should be considered, whether it's allopathic or holistic, integrative, functional, all of it should be considered, not one size fits all. And so that's what I love about Live Longer Medical. And you can find Live Longer Medical in Indiana, Florida. And the number there is 321-327-2980. So if you're watching from a place where you say, I could just drive there, it's worth the time just to sit down and figure out, can you change your roadmap? Or where you're going or where you're headed? Can you make a U-turn back to health? And so Live Longer Medical is a sponsor, as well as Liberty Health Share. You can go to libertyhealthshare.org. Keep Me Safe Organics. Earlier, Lisa talked about how the skin is an incredible organ that allows absorption into your body. We are putting chemicals on our body when we put our beauty products. So Keep Me Safe Organics. If you go to whenyouneedafriend.com, you can go to my sponsors page, and all this information is in there. And with Keep Me Safe Organics, you get 10% off your total order if you entered Lily 10. So go to whenyouneedafriend.com and check out that particular one so that you can make some money in the process, or save some money, not make some money, save some money. Then there's First Alternative Care, 24/7 medical, non-urgent dermatology, 3 hours a year behavioral health counseling for the entire household for $45 a month. And that gives you a portal that has I think it's like 3.2 trillion different algorithms that will uniquely fit you, and will give you 40,000 publications so that you know why this study responded this way, or your results responded a certain way. And that's $45 a month for the entire household. And Dr. Stephen Gravel, he is in Jacksonville Beach, Florida. He's Complementary Care Center. Check him out as well. All the links are in there. And the pharmacy in Merritt Island, mention my name and you'll get 20%. Just say Lily sent you, you get 20% off your first order. So those are different ways that you can support the organizations, the people who are taking a stand with the information that is empowering to you. Also, you, my enrolled students, can become an enrolled student, and you can also help out the classroom and help us grow. But most importantly, check them out, figure out ways that you can support all the sponsors, including yourself, if you want to become a sponsor, and donate $10, $5, whatever you want to donate to help the classroom grow. I am just very, very grateful. Go to whenyouneedafriend.com, subscribe, and when you subscribe there, click on to all my social media, my YouTube channel, and all of that gets sent to you when you subscribe. And you'll also get everybody, all the teachers in the classroom, you'll get their link straight to you. It's delivered to your phone or email, so that we could all grow together. So Lisa, I am grateful to you, because from the moment we met, we said we are so equally matched that we need to figure out how to support each other, and we have.
And we have. You know, I want to piggyback what you said just a moment ago.
Yeah.
Over the years, what I've noticed with patients that have come to my practice is that we prefer to be part of a team. And so when you have a patient that's a cancer patient, a patient who has heart issues, any of these types of conditions, a multitude of them, you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You can't, if you've got a patient that has cancer and they have a cancer doctor and they've made a decision to blend the worlds, you want to be sure that you can work with those other practitioners. And I've had patients who their physician, their oncologist would say, you know what, I don't believe in nutrition. I don't believe in diet. I don't believe in these things. And I've actually had my patients leave those oncologists and find someone who would work as a team player. And I encourage people to do that. Our premise is we don't know it all. We don't have all the answers. And you have to work like a team with other experts. We're not an expert in every field. So it's an important concept. And we try to teach that to our patients, that we're a part of your team. And you want to make sure that your team is on your page. There's an amazing dentist that I found because I just moved to the Indianapolis area.
Yeah, and he used to be a sponsor too.
Yeah, he's just amazing, Dr. Chris Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm actually meeting with him to create a consortium in the area to bring all these like-minded physicians together, because I did this in Indiana, and I had a huge group. And it was such a wonderful blessing. Everyone could share, cross-refer. They learned things they had not learned before. And as a patient, you want those types of people on your team,
Yes.
helping you create longevity and life and health and get your health back if you need to, or, create more vibrancy in your life if that's what you need. So anyway, I just wanted to piggyback what you said, that's just an incredible thing for our incredible team that a patient needs to find. A group of people.
And on top of that, speaking of Chris Edwards, they were a sponsor for a whole year, and they got so busy that, it just was hard to get him to come on in the classroom. But you can go to whenyouneedafriend.com, enter Chris Edwards, and all our classes are in whenyouneedafriend.com. He's also Smile Design and Wellness Center. I go there personally. I go there as well. Just let them know Lily sent you when you go there. Okay, so I wanted to also add to what you said. If you go to a doctor and they say, I don't believe in nutrition, I don't believe in alternative ways to heal, I don't believe, it's not like this is Santa Claus. It's not like you believe in Santa Claus or you don't believe in Santa Claus. Right. There is science. And if you look at the science, you will find the answers staring back at you. But the problem is this: you've got to dig deep, because that stuff is hard to find, because it's buried on things that are allopathic, that are, feeding society, like commercials, and feeding the industry for television and the food industry and all those things. So you have to be very, very careful and really know where to go. Go to pubmed.gov. There's other places that you can research and look at it, because it's there. You just have to be smart to dig it. Then the second thing I want to say is, if you have a doctor say, I don't believe in nutrition, take a good look at your doctor. Mm-hmm. Look at what your doctor looks like. Is he overweight or she? Are they smoking? Do they have a skin condition? Are they overweight? I don't know if I said that already, but do they look healthy? And think, I am trusting my body to this person who cannot take care of themselves. They may have the wisdom, they may have the knowledge, but they may just be prescribing. And so I just want you to be your own MD, your own medical detective, because that is the way you will heal your body. And I love, Lisa, what you're saying about how, between the saliva, the blood, the urine, and the stools, that your body is really saying, this is what you got. And we have Gina, who said, I have Lyme bacteria infection, and I believe one of the bacteria that made me sick was from a cat scratch. It's so important to investigate. So let's talk about our everyday situations that can cause that stress in the body. Can you get Lyme disease-like symptoms from a cat scratch?
You know, I don't know the cat, and I don't know the situation, but
That cat. Thanks, Gina.
There's nothing I would doubt because I've seen so much. And Lyme disease is underdiagnosed. It's ignored in many, many cases.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you need a physician that absolutely spends the time
Yeah.
with Lyme disease.
Mm-hmm. We have Richard Horowitz. Richard
Yeah.
Horowitz comes on, as often as he can now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brilliant. So that's an option for people to look at someone who, really focuses on that. And it can be complicated to treat because everyone has a unique biochemistry. And you could do one test and say, oh, you've got Lyme's disease, but you need to do more. There's a lot that supports
layers,
that. Or
so many layers.
Yes, right. So there's a lot to Lyme disease. That's like a whole few hours of conversation.
Yeah.
And yet, when you look at this biochemistry, if you do a simple Nutra-Eval test, you're going to learn a lot just looking at that could contribute to making that Lyme disease worse or supporting yourself to get over it. So, it's just valuable information. Knowledge is power, and the more data you have, the more armed you are to create the environment for health and longevity and eliminating disease.
Yes. So let's talk about some of the other things that people can do, because we went out to dinner the other night and you said, ladies, we have the natural flu shot. Come and get it.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Let's talk about this natural flu shot at the Live Longer Medical, because as everybody who is a student or a part of the classroom know that I am for vaccine safety, and I've taken a stand for that. I personally don't vaccinate myself. So when you said natural vaccine, let's talk about a flu shot that's a natural flu shot. What's an alternative to the flu shot?
So years and years ago, I have 6 children. I had a daughter who had a reaction to an immunization, and it was quite severe. Excuse me. So I did a lot of research. I mean, literally months, years of researching. And then we ended up actually seeing a lot of patients with similar reactions. But from that, going into any kind of vaccination, you have to be very careful. They can have things like thimerosal, which is a mercury. It causes mercury toxicity in some people. And some patients, I don't want to get into it because it's very, very controversial, but I will say, I've had patients bring before and after videos, before and after MMRs, and it's concerning. So I think it's just something to watch. People who might have a sensitivity to thimerosal. So having said that, I also would not go and get a flu shot. That's my personal opinion. That's my personal choice. But I don't think I want to go into flu season without having a strong immunity. And I also would like to say, if someone were living in a nursing home, those situations might have a different thing that you might want to consider. And it would depend on the patient, and you need a physician who's addressing all of that. But in our office, we have, it's a vitamin D shot. It has 50,000 IUs of vitamin D. Vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. So you can get it in an IM injection, and it's intramuscular injection. And I try to get this before flu season, and I might even get a little booster later. But there are many, many, many studies that show that it will reduce either the severity of a flu. It can actually prevent people from getting the flu. There's a Japanese study not that long, I think it was maybe 2010-ish, that showed that people were 3 times less likely to get the flu. And also this is D3, by the way, I want to specify, because D2 you can get in most multivitamins, but its absorption is very poor. And they also, in this study, they noted that children with asthma tendencies were less likely to have as many attacks. So this was a wonderful study, a Japanese study, and it just showed a lot of that. But it's a preventative. It boosts immunity, and there are many, many, many studies that show that. So it's just something to consider. Again, you need to go to your practitioner, make sure it's something good for you, make sure it's prescribed properly. We put a little xylocaine so it doesn't hurt, but it's just it's something I do yearly, and highly recommend it.
How often do you suggest that people get the vitamin D shot?
Good question. One thing I'd recommend is that you know your vitamin D levels.
Okay.
Always make sure you do that and know what your vitamin D levels are like. I get it usually twice during flu season, for me personally. But depending on that patient, they need to make sure that that works properly for them, in their biochemistry and in their particular situation. But it's my natural flu shot.
Yes, I love it. So this is the thing, look at the ingredients, and I've posted the ingredients of the flu shot. And keep in mind, when you take a flu shot, it's the previous year's strain, because there's no way they can make a flu shot that quickly when they're still developing it. So it's not really helping you for this year. It doesn't make sense to me. And so that's where I'm saying, be your own MD. Check out the ingredients. I've posted it before. The last time I posted it was when Del Bigtree was on in the classroom, and I posted the ingredients of all the different vaccines. I'm not against vaccinating. I am not for vaccinating. I am for vaccine safety.
Right.
And so that there's liability for the vaccine makers, so that if it injures you, they have to pay. And they would think twice. They will think twice before putting something and rushing it out into the market. So last time, Miss Lisa, that you were in the classroom as a teacher, you had a great event at Live Longer Medical. Today, you're having another event, but at another location, and I'm going to be there with you guys. So tell us about this event at Sorelli's salon.
It's a really cool beauty event, and they're having hairstylists there, people with different lessons in makeup and how to blow dry your hair even. So I think there are things you have to pay for some of those things, but to get in, it's no cost. We will be there, and we have a Xeomin, which is like a Botox treatment. I like it better. It's a more pure molecule. For me personally, it works better. I feel safer with it. And it's called Xeomin. Mm-hmm. And so we'll be doing that, and we have a very, very low cost. It's $8 per unit, so it's a very low cost. We're giving discounts on fillers, and so we have a little room, and you can schedule a time and come in and get your treatment. And then we'll also talk about other things that we're doing in our practice. We're happy to meet with people when they're there. So we'll be there from 6 to 8. I'm not sure how late the event will go, but for us at Live Longer Medical, we'll be there from 6 to 8.
Okay,
tonight.
So that is at 400 St. Andrew Boulevard. That is considered Suntree area in Florida. It's called Suntree. We kind of are looking it up. We're like, okay, where is that? But it's 400 St. Andrew Boulevard. And but I will tell you that the number for Live Longer Medical is 321-327-2980. So here's the deal. When you go to this event, it's at Sorelli's Hair Studio and Spa. You go check it out and play and learn what's going on, because we want to look good on the outside too. And so many people focus on their outside and they forget that their inside is like rotting. So we need let's look as good on the outside as we do on the inside. That's the key that you get at Live Longer Medical. And they are located at 102 Fifth Avenue, Indy Atlantic, Florida. Again, their phone number is 321-327-2980. And you can go to livelongermedical.com, or you can go to whenyounneedafriend.com and click on the sponsors page, and you'll see Live Longer Medical logo, and you can just click on them and it'll take you straight there. Simple, easy peasy. But tonight's event, I'm going to be there supporting Live Longer Medical and learning about the Xeomin, it's called Xeomin.
Xeomin.
Okay, and I'm going to learn about Xeomin and hopefully research it to see how natural it is in the body. But I'm sure that you've researched it quite a bit. I'd love to see your research. And so I am excited, Lisa, as always, every time you come on to share ways that we can empower ourselves. Women, men, children that are watching today, that'll watch in the future, any words of wisdom as far as giving them hope when conventional medicine fails them?
over the years, I've seen so many people that have tried so many different paths in the traditional model. And again, you want a team approach. But I think if you just understand and dig a little deeply and know your biochemistry, you're going to find that needle in the haystack that can make a difference in your life.
Yeah, that's a great advice. Great advice. And again, that's Live Longer Medical. And I am a patient there now. I absolutely love the team, the staff that is there, and you guys are just getting started. And I'm looking forward to seeing all the wonderful healing modalities you will be bringing to Live Longer Medical, because you've just been there for just a short period of time.
Yeah.
And before you know it, it'll be world-class people coming all over, instead of Indiana to Atlantic, Florida. So I am really excited. And to all of you, we're going to have, if you have any questions for Lisa after we finish the podcast, you can type in your queue, ask your question. All of you can join us. For those of you who are listening on podcasts later on or watching on YouTube, you could always join us at facebook.com/Lillian's Radio Show. Lisa, thank you so much for your wisdom and your ability to explain it so that we could all get it. And
loved being here. Thank you.
Thank you. And for those of you that want to heal from the inside out, you know where to go. But be your own MD. Please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Lisa Geyer wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever! Yay!
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott Radio Show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
Good job, Lisa. Okay, for those of you who are watching, I don't know where you guys are from. I would love to see Gina, where are you listening from or watching from? Thank you so much for contributing. Patty, hey, Patty. So nice to see you in the classroom. And for those of you, I cannot see where you're looking or listening. I don't even know your name unless you write a comment below, because that's how you're protected. But there's so many things, so many topics that Lisa can bring to the classroom. And if you want that topic, we can certainly talk about it. I have a question for you, Lisa, and it had nothing to do really with, I guess it would do with treatment. There's two comments. And okay, the first one is, you had mentioned the Amish story.
Yes.
I had heard another doctor, and I'm trying to remember, he was in the classroom. He was a teacher in the classroom many, many years ago, very controversial. And I know, I'm hoping that the name will download, he wrote the book called The Medical Emperor Has No Clothes. You may know who he is, but he told a story, and he tells a story, and I think his last name, it's like Glick or something like that, that the Amish have a huge tradition, or a huge, if you look at the Amish, there's a huge tendency to have multiple sclerosis. And they did a study as well with the Amish. And when they realized that they eat their own food, they grow their own food, and they usually have their farms for hundreds of years. They have their, and they discovered that there was a nutrient missing in the soil of the Amish. Did you know about that?
I don't know. I did not know about it, but I love that. I'm going to research that.
Yeah, when you were talking about that, about the little girl, I thought, is she telling his story that I had heard him say? I didn't know if you were going to go down that MS path, but I remember you sharing that story before, and I love hearing about the love and care that you go out of your way to help people. So that was the first thing that I wanted to say, which is the...
I'm going to look that up. That's very cool.
Yeah. So, and then the next one was, I did a show, a broadcast on chelation therapy with Dr. Grable, Dr. Stephen Grable. He's one of the sponsors. And it was really great to learn a little bit about it. But then I had some other doctor who was not alternative, I will say that, And he said, oh, you don't want to do chelation because chelation will just strip you from everything. So at what point do you offer chelation for people? At what point do should people embrace chelation or not?
That's a loaded question. It is very patient specific. And if they do have heavy metal toxicity, it's FDA approved to remove heavy metals. Having said that, it does remove minerals. So when you give chelation therapy, a patient will get 4 IV treatments, 1 a week for 4 weeks. On the 5th week, you replace those minerals and they do not get the EDTA. So you have to do it intelligently and in a certain pattern. So it's just one of those things you really have to watch, and then you retest when they finish their chelation treatments. You retest and you check all their mineral levels. You just have to be responsible with the way you treat it. But EDTA is FDA approved and it does work. I mean, there are years and years and years of that. I mean, there's many other uses for EDTA. Dr. John Trowbridge is a very good friend of mine, and he's really been a physician who went down the path of opening the doors for chelation therapy for patients who have, cardiac disease. So, people who have, heart conditions, calcification, it's been shown to break up that calcification.
Nice.
And he has multitudes of books. He's just a super, super neat physician that has...
And what's his name again?
Dr. John Trowbridge. He has several books. He just sent me some of his new ones because we've been chatting off and on lately. He's just in the know when it comes to chelation therapy. He's just like the father of that industry.
Okay.
My youngest daughter used to sit on his lap at the medical conferences. So that was a long time ago. But
wow.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. I might reach out to him too.
Oh,
okay, so we have a couple of questions.
Okay.
It's Galina. Oh, no. Yeah, I think I got it right. She says, what test should I do? I have constipation problems.
Definitely do a stool test. And I would definitely recommend the Genova stool test, but I also would strongly recommend you do an allergy profile. And I would do a comprehensive allergy profile. I like the one that Genova has, but also the other company, Lillian, that of the ELISA ACT test.
Yes, Dr. Jaffe is going to be in the classroom.
He's brilliant.
I'm really excited. This is my test results, and I did it before my explantation. So I'm wondering if I should do it after. But anyway, so that's one that we're going to be discussing.
Yeah, he's brilliant, and his test is very, very good. So, yeah, I mean, I think that you have to know what's going in, because that's what's affecting what's going through. And then also just the, the health of, what's coming out. So you want to look at the stool test and kind of see, and then, really take a close look at your lifestyle. I don't like the word diet. I always say it stands for don't insist on an eating trauma, because over the years, my education's in dietetics, and I wrote a cookbook and actually had a radio program years ago. And I saw lots and lots of patients, and as soon as you say you have to eat this and you can't eat that and you gotta, people shut you off. Yeah. So it's more of a lifestyle change and finding out biochemically what works for you and integrating those better choices in your lifestyle.
Yeah.
And it could be exercise. You may not be getting enough exercise. It could be a combination of things.
Not enough fiber, not enough water.
Right. And you'll see that
medication.
In the stool test.
Yeah. So you take the lifestyle and then able to, because that's what speaks volume, is the entire picture. So I would challenge as well. I would say, look at the entire picture. Like, is there, what else is going on that could create constipation? Because I used to have constipation too. Yeah. But when I changed to, first it was a raw vegan diet. And then that didn't support me after 3 years. And since then, I've been eating nutritarian, which you can find Dr. Joel Furman in the classroom once a month, and he will answer any of your questions when he is on, which I love having him on. Okay, so another question is a question from Galina again, and she is, are essential oils part of your treatments?
I love essential oils, and I think they're highly effective. I do believe you have to be careful where you're getting them, where they come from,
how they're pressed.
Yeah. There are a couple companies I love. I love Young Living. They make some amazing essential oils. I like doTERRA's for certain things. I use On Guard this time of year in my mister in my office. I love it. I put it in my home too, just to keep the air clean. So they have a place. Are they curative? It depends on what the situation is. Can they be supportive? Absolutely. Using lavender at night to help go to sleep, awesome. There's a couple, Young Living's got a couple for brain function that, I didn't even believe it. I used it and boy, I couldn't even, it was like taking caffeine. So there are, it depends on the patient, the situation, their lifestyle, it's, I think getting a practitioner that will take a holistic approach, and I mean that with integrity and credibility, but to look at everything, the totality of what a person's made of, their life experience, how they live each day, their stress levels, their exercise, all of that, putting it together for that person is vitally important.
Yes. And I will say that I do not use the brand name. I use the regular, I go to a location where I've been using essential oils since before I knew about Young Living and doTERRA.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I buy it by bulk. I buy it in bulk in little vials.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's less expensive for me. And I add them to my coconut oils or
It's
whatever,
perfect. Yeah.
and I make my own sunscreens with shea butter and coconut oil and add
I
a
love
little
it.
bit of the frankincense in there. I mean, there's just so many things that
Yep.
we can do.
Yeah, you don't have to use a brand name. People
Yeah.
ask me all the time, where can I go to get something dependable? Well, I just hate sending them to the health food store because you don't always know what you're getting there. So,
Yeah.
I think if you find a reliable source like you have, Lily, that you absolutely should do
Well,
that.
actually, I've learned a little bit more about essential oils that I need to go back and reevaluate because, just like I had my list of allergies that I had, and now I've learned that I have new ones and that I need to, I got to reread all the labels again. And interestingly enough, I am sensitive to, get this, dairy-free options. There is a, so I will tell you the name of it. That is gargum, that
Yeah.
you can get coconut milk in a can that has gargum in it. Who knows what that is? Apparently, I have become sensitive to it. So now my coconut milk in a can is simple. It does not have gargum in it.
Yeah.
And I've noticed a change in my skin. There was another one that, and this is something for later on, but there is an ingredient that they add to, and it's carrageenan.
Mm-hmm. It's in a lot of things.
Well, guess who is sensitive to that? So that means that all my dairy-free options, like my cheeses or all that, I've got to rethink all of that and create a new plan. Because, if we cannot take care of ourselves, our bodies, and all these ingredients are processed foods anyway.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have to worry of any of this if I wasn't having any of that processed foods. And so once in a while, I'll add it as an accent. But I tell you what, it was it's like that drop that keeps dripping and filling that vessel over. Anyway, I know you've got to get to work, and so is there any final words that you would like to share with our teachers' pets who've stayed afterwards?
Well, if anyone needs anything, they can always message us at the office or call us, and we'd be happy to help. And just know that we really take a very, very detailed approach to what we're doing.
Do you have an online division? Are you able to, for people that are like watching today, they're maybe in Australia, England, Malaysia, we have people from all over the world that are members of the classroom. if can you do an online consult with them?
We can do you know, like a yeah, we can do a Zoom
like
meeting.
what we're doing today.
Yeah, we've done several of those. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, happy to.
Well, it's Live Longer Medical. Let them know that you heard about Lisa on the Lillian McDermott radio show, Classroom. And that way she knows that her efforts are being rewarded as well. You know, you can give, and that's really good, but it's always wonderful to receive as well. People who give without wanting anything in return, that's not good balance. We need to give and receive. And the number is 321-327-2980. So I'm looking forward to seeing you tonight, Lisa, and celebrating with you. And until we meet tomorrow we're going to be talking about dyslexia. So for those of you who feel that you may have a reading issue or ADHD or ADD, we're going to address all of those issues in a holistic way. Isn't that amazing? So we'll see you until next time. See ya. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.